To get things underway, I'm delighted to introduce today's keynote speaker, Margot James, the Minister for Digital and Creative Industries. Appointed in January this year, Margot was previously Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State at the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. Her responsibilities include digital, broadband, and online safety, and she's been a true champion of the industry during the past 10 months, driving forward government policies on incredibly important and timely issues such as internet safety, cybersecurity, and connectivity. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Margot James, the Minister for Digital and the Creative Industries. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much, Russell, for a very interesting introduction and your kind words of welcome. I'm absolutely delighted to be here at my first UK Internet Governance Forum. It's a great privilege to hold the brief that I do in government. It has to be one of the most fascinating areas, one of the most important areas, and also, happily, a fantastic growth area for the UK economy. So I want to start by expressing my gratitude to Russell and your team at Nominet for the hard work involved in organising today's event. The government supported the creation of this annual UK Internet Forum, and in just over 10 years it has become a model for multi-stakeholder discussions in over 100 similar fora around the world. And it's now more vital than ever in order to maximise the opportunities provided by the digital revolution and also to tackle the emerging threats and problems to which Russell alluded in his opening address. We've always supported a free, open and secure internet that is supported by a global framework of cooperative governance. And it's this approach that has enabled the internet and the digital economy to develop so successfully. Governments cannot solve public policy challenges on their own, and this provides us with a great opportunity to work closely with all stakeholders, business, civil society, representatives of users, and the technology community itself, so that policy decisions are shaped by practical concerns and not abstract theory. And there's much more that we need to do in order to establish reinforce trust in digital technologies that needs to be underpinned by new approaches to governance and that support innovation, trust and safety for all online activities. And that's how the UK will be able to maintain its position as one of the leading nations at the forefront of the global digital economy. As we all know, technology is developing at an ever faster rate, and society is struggling in some ways to keep up with it and build the rules necessary to meet each challenge. And in consultation with stakeholders like yourselves, we're implementing a wide-ranging strategy now to address some of these challenges. We want to make the UK the best place in the world to be a digital citizen, and that's a key objective of our digital charter, which is a rolling programme of work that is designed to make the internet work for everyone by agreeing norms and rules for the online world, for citizens, businesses and society as a whole. Our world-leading digital sectors are a major economic driver. Last year, venture capital investment in London alone reached an all-time high, attracting 2.45 billion, which is more than Germany, France, Spain and Ireland combined. So taken together, the UK's digital firms account for 24% of all exports. And as it all grows, of course, the online harms become greater and ever more sophisticated. And research by Ofcom and the ICO has shown that 1 in 5 internet users have reported harmful content online, and 8 in 10 internet users have concerns about going online, 80%. That must be a huge concern to us all and a real wake-up call. It's clear that a great deal more needs to be done to tackle online harms. Our internet safety strategy sets out our ambition to make Britain the safest place in the world to be online. We published a green paper this time last year, which invited comments from all stakeholders on our thinking as to how we can achieve this. And we provided a response to those concerns in May, which explained our proposal for a statutory social media code of practice and for transparency reporting. The code will provide guidance to social media providers on appropriate reporting mechanisms and moderation processes to tackle abusive content. The mandatory transparency reports will provide data on the amount of harmful content being reported to platforms and information on how these reports are dealt with. We will publish a joint DCMS Home Office white paper this winter, which will set out options for legislation and regulation set out to tackle a wide range of harms. And these include those which are harmful but not necessarily illegal, those in something of a grey area, you might say. We will identify where we believe legislation can make the biggest impact on user security and safety, and we will also set out clear responsibility for tech companies to keep UK citizens secure. We're not limiting our scope only to the large social media platforms, but we are protecting innovation in the digital economy. That is also very important. So we need to take a proportionate approach, depending in part on the size of businesses. An agile approach to regulation can ultimately, we believe, strengthen the free and open internet by building public trust, which has taken quite a severe battering in recent months. Providing a framework which both encourages innovators and provides confidence to users and investors. Everyone has their part to play in making the internet a safer and more respectful environment and supporting a new generation of digital citizens. A key component of our strategy has been to expand the scope of the UK Council for Child Internet Safety, and that has been expanded to and renamed the UK Council for Internet Safety. And this will be a collaborative forum for policymakers, the tech community and the third sector to work together to ensure that the UK is the safest place in the world to be online for children as well as adults. The developers and engineers at the forefront of technology evolution have a huge part to play, obviously, in realising this vision. And we would not want to put the brakes on the evolution and the innovation. We just want to help shape it through a more inclusive and collaborative approach that serves the better side of humanity. AI will transform our future by changing jobs and businesses across the country and enabling the internet safety strategy to bear fruit. We want people to be able to capitalise on the opportunities driven by AI. Embedding AI across the UK will create thousands of good quality jobs in the future, is already creating jobs, and drive economic growth similarly. By one estimate, AI could add 232 billion to the UK economy by 2030. So I believe we need to start building a basis of fundamental trust in AI technologies. Without that, we will not achieve these predictions. And we also need to develop an innovative approach to regulation that creates greater understanding of what these technologies mean for individual lives and organisations. To aid this, we have established three new bodies: the Office for Artificial Intelligence, the AI Council, and the Centre for Data Ethics and Innovation, which we actually announced this week. And the Office for Artificial Intelligence, the OAI, is responsible for overseeing the implementation of the industrial strategy's AI sector deal that really puts the UK at the forefront of the AI and data revolution. The OAI's mission is to drive responsible and innovative uptake of AI technologies for the benefit of all. And it will do this by engaging organisations, fostering growth, and delivering recommendations around data, skills, and adoption. The AI Council convenes experts from across industry, academia and government to create a strong dialogue and provide leadership and momentum for the implementation of the sector deal. And it will ensure effective engagement with industry and universities on priorities, research and development. We also need to identify the measures needed to strengthen and improve the way data and AI is used. And so the Centre for Data Ethics and Innovation will draw on evidence and insights from regulators, academia, technical specialists, the public and business, with the aim of making recommendations on how we can best address potential gaps in the regulatory landscape and the building of public trust. We conducted a public consultation on the role for the new centre over the summer, and this week we published our response to that consultation, and we announced the new chair, Roger Taylor, and the composition of the first board. And they meet for the first time next week. The centre will explore how data is used to shape people's experiences online and how to promote fairness in decisions made using algorithms. Another rapidly growing sector is the Internet of Things, products that offer exciting opportunities for consumers and businesses. And many of these products are already on the market, offering good cybersecurity. However, poorly secured IoT products threaten people's privacy, security, and in some cases safety. And they also open up the possibility of a larger scale cyber attack. So as these products become a regular feature in people's homes, we don't believe it's right to expect citizens to become experts in cybersecurity in order to protect themselves. So we need to shift the burden from consumers to business by ensuring that IoT products and associated services are designed with security built in from the outset during the manufacturing process. So for the past 2 years, we've been working closely with the National Cybersecurity Centre and with industry and academia to develop a code of practice, which we published last month. It includes 13 guidelines for manufacturers, mobile app developers, and IoT service providers, such as no default passwords and keeping software updated in a secure manner. I believe these guidelines will go some way to improving the cybersecurity of products and associated services. And by the time we've got more companies signed up, I think this could take us quite a long way to improving the security of IoT-enabled devices. We're continuing to talk to leading manufacturers, several of whom have pledged to implement the code, and we've also made the code available in 7 or 8 different languages and are working closely with like-minded governments around the world on their potential global applicability. Effective data protection rules are globally recognised as fundamental to building relationships based on trust. Now that we've adopted the GDPR and passed the Data Protection Act, I believe our data protection legislation is in line with the digital age. Thanks to GDPR, citizens now have greater control over their personal data. The obligations on data controllers and processors to keep people's data safe and secure are stronger, and this creates greater trust amongst the customers of business. We're fortunate to have a gold standard national regulator, the Information Commissioner, who will enable the frictionless flow of data while safeguarding the exchange and protection of personal data after we leave the EU. The ICO has a strong delivery record as an independent regulator, and we have provided the ICO with additional resources and greater powers as part of the new data protection regime. We also want the ICO to continue leading on global investigations into the use of personal information and micro-targeting in political campaigns. In the global economy, the ability to transfer data across borders is crucial. And when data cannot flow, it presents significant barriers and creates great risks to trade. It's also vital, of course, for law enforcement cooperation. Much of the debate about accessing the single market after we leave the EU has centred on the trade in manufactured goods. And that is vital. Some 45% of all those goods are exported within the single market. The position is even more critical for data flows, with 75% of the UK's global data flows being within the European Union single market. So we need to make sure that data flows between the UK and the EU are uninterrupted after Brexit. As the Prime Minister has said, achieving a deal on data protection is crucial, and it's in everybody's interests. And we have agreed, as part of the political declaration announced last week, that adequacy discussions would start during the implementation period, and it is our intention, although it's obviously a decision that has to be made by the EU, by working closely with them, we're optimistic that that decision can be in the UK's favour by the end of 2020. As many of you know, the 13th Annual UN Internet Governance Forum, the global version, was held last week in Paris. Many of the issues, opportunities and challenges were discussed there, and it will be important for the UK IGF to contribute to this global dialogue and its ongoing intersessional work on best practice. As host for the global IGF this year, President Macron set out his bold vision for the future course of internet governance. He emphasised a leading role for governments, and he was quite clear that the internet, in his view, was threatened by giant platforms that have departed from the ideals and values that underpin all that is enriching about the internet, values to which so many of us subscribe. We in the UK will contribute to that dialogue through advocating our carefully developed policy approaches under the Digital Charter, which I've also outlined as being the thinking that is going into our white paper. We will support the work of the IGF's Secretariat and its multi-stakeholder advisory group to strengthen the global IGF. And we look ahead to next year's IGF, which Germany will host in Berlin. And we need to work together to ensure its role as a vital point of convergence at the centre of the global internet ecosystem is more strategic, inclusive, and output-oriented. So we all need to work together to make the internet safer and more secure for our citizens, our children, and for businesses large and small. And as we embrace transformative technologies, such as the AI and Internet of Things, we need to enable innovation to thrive, based on a foundation of trust and respect for data and privacy. The internet is a global network, and we all need to work with other countries that share our values and our determination to get this right. And that's why your forum here today is so important. So I wish you all the very best with the programme. It looks a very interesting programme, and I'm going to stay to listen to as much of it as I can. And I very much look forward to hearing the results of your wider deliberations as the day progresses. Thank you again very much, Russell, and your team at Nominate for the invitation to join you here today.